that's what I want to stress to everyone like listening today, is that you can definitely have those people that you admire, that you look up to, and people who are like your mentors, and that support system for you, of course. But once you start comparing and saying, why isn't my life looking like theirs, or why isn't my relationship looking like theirs, or why isn't my job like that, you know, that completely takes away from your purpose. Like,
welcome back to QR Quoted. I'm Queen.
I'm Raquel.
And we're so happy to have you back today. Today we're going to be discussing all things related to patience and being open-minded to learning from what life has to offer. So Raquel, what has life been offering you lately? Anything new?
Anything new? Not really, besides I'm a tired girl who is hustling.
Word of the year?
I'm sticking to it.
Sticking to it.
Yeah, I mean, I put it out there in the universe, and I literally put it out there. So all of you guys hold me accountable. So I am hustling, I promise, but I'm tired.
I was kind of hoping you had something exciting to share because...
Like what?
Kind of same. I'm pretty tired too. Last week was a rough week. One night I fell asleep at 6:30. True story. So yeah, not much is new too. Which is why I was asking you that question. I was like hoping that you had something new to share, but
sorry,
it's okay.
Guys.
We're all in the same boat here. It's that weird time of year. I feel like January to March, no offense if you were born from January to March, is such a just like weird time. Time moves differently. And
yeah.
Like it's a long stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then spring is here.
And
It's
summer.
wow,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But this has also been the fastest January ever. It feels like it's a 35-day long month, but it's pretty fast. It's been quick. Yeah, not much is new. Trying to like enjoy what I can when I have some free time,
Mm-hmm.
doing some things that, you know, spark my joy.
Yes.
One thing that I've been doing that has just been really nice to have, which kind of got me thinking like, oh, let's do like our current top 5. Like, what are we loving right now? Things or like experiences. So my number 1 right now is my bedtime routine. I've become very particular about this. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, so
you can't just say all that and not share. What the heck?
So what I've been doing recently, which has really been helping like my quality of sleep, is it's a few very simple things. So we got those light bulbs where you can control them from your phone, like the smart bulbs.
Okay.
And
Fancy.
I like did some research and I found that amber light is good for sleep. It's really calming and relaxing. So anything that's not like cool tone blue light is good. Okay. But amber light supposedly is very calming and relaxing. So as I get into bed, I will switch that on. I'll make sure it's like the right shade and I'll dim it. And then I spray like I don't like to spray directly on my pillow because I don't want to break out with like a lavender essential oil spray. Mm-hmm. I kind of spray that in the room because it is truly calming. Mm-hmm. And then I will play brown noise on Spotify. Have you heard of that?
No.
So
I should be writing this stuff down.
Have you heard of white noise?
Yes.
Okay, so brown noise is like warmer. White noise is, I think, higher pitched, and so brown noise is often like more relaxing for sleep. I think
the same kind of sound?
Yeah, it's just like it's noise, but it's warmer than white noise. And on Spotify there's like a cool feature where you can set a timer. Mm-hmm. So it'll just stop playing after 30 minutes usually. I'll set it to, and literally like I don't remember falling asleep, which is the best because then I wake up to my alarm and I'm like, wow, I just slept a very deep sleep. So it's been nice waking up well rested. Obviously there are those like random days where I just feel like I was awake all night, sure. Which sucks, but it happens. Mm-hmm. What else have I been loving? My Sony headphones. I got some like nice noise canceling headphones. I kind of had a scary traumatic experience with them at school yesterday, which I told you about. I will spare the details because it's very traumatic. But noise canceling headphones aren't the best in all scenarios. For cleaning the house, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to podcasts at home, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. In public, no.
Yeah.
Can be scary.
You need to be aware of your surroundings.
I've been loving my Kindle. I do try to read before I sleep. It hasn't been very successful for me because I've been just sleepy.
Knocking out,
I will knock out with my current routine.
Yep.
My Nespresso has been very nice because Starbucks just ain't it right now. It's not consistent. So, yeah. And then I've been enjoying, slowing down when I need to and just being like, maybe I can't do this today. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What about you?
Very nice.
What's your current top 5?
I have 4 things.
Okay.
Because I'm me and I have commitment issues and I can't decide. So recently I've been drinking more water.
Nice.
And I'm very proud of that, and I'm much more intentional about how much water I'm drinking. So always taking a bottle with me, like filling up water from home in a nice bottle.
Yeah, your emotional support water bottle.
Yeah.
I was telling Raquel about that earlier.
Yeah, I learned what that is. So I'm in the loop.
We all have an emotional support water bottle that is always with us, supporting us through everything.
Currently, I'm really into room temperature water, so yeah.
Not me.
I know that's not everyone's fave. So my cups are not insulated.
Yeah,
they're is it plastic?
Yeah,
So because I don't want freakishly cold water right now. That's just me. I've also been saying yes and no more often without pondering over it too much. I'm either yes or no, and then I'm moving on with my life, and that's very nice for me. And I'm also getting some nice hours of sleep, and I'm in my comfy clothes era, so all the sweatpants, all the hoodies, all the fuzzy socks, all the fuzzy boots, this is my time to shine.
Yeah.
So
it's also that time of year where it's just the warm, comfy, cozy clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Key.
Like my outfit right now, a dream.
Yeah. I'm in sweatpants right now.
Me too. Mm-hmm. But you can't see that.
Comfort is key.
Yes. All the time.
So, we're going to jump into the quote, or quotes.
Plural.
It was my turn to find and pick a quote for this episode. And so I was like, how can I do the absolute most in true queen fashion? And so I found 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found 1, technically.
Mm-hmm.
And that first quote, after I started to, reflect and write a little bit, I was reminded, and it took me back to a quote that I came across back in 2018. And I kind of came to a conclusion about this connection between the 2. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let's do this. Let's run with this. So, we're only going to introduce the first quote right now, and then later on you'll hear the second quote, because we just want to be like that.
It just makes sense that way.
So listen to the whole episode for the second quote. Quote 1. This is the quote that I kind of stumbled upon, and it set the tone for everything we're about to talk about. Mm-hmm. So the quote is, just because it's taking time doesn't mean it's not happening. And I was just thinking about just how impatient I have become, and I'm sure many of you can probably relate. Everything in our lives is so instant. Mm-hmm. If Amazon does not deliver my package in a day, I scream. Which is so bad.
Yeah.
That is not okay.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show those little things like that have just turned us into these just people who can't be patient in life. Mm-hmm. And this is such a tough lesson to learn and just to remind yourself of, I feel like. But there are things that just need time. So, for example, a relationship, getting a job you've always wanted, you're acquiring your degree you've worked for.
Yes.
Raquel knows a thing or two about that.
You start crying.
Currently. She's being patient with it. Accomplishing a goal related to health or wellness, right? These things aren't instant. These things are not a overnight Amazon order.
No.
As much as we want them to be, they're just not going to be that. And we want to just snap our fingers when something isn't there in our lives, and then it just magically appears. But that's not going to happen. It's really easy to forget that life is about each step of the staircase and not just what's waiting at the top for you. Process over product, right? Another thing is, in life, there's a bunch of those staircases existing all at once that are going in different directions, and some have more steps than others. And so I think in that, we just have to, and I have to remind myself often that it's about the process, not about the product. Yes, that end goal is motivating, but being patient is key, and being okay with everything that the process has to offer, because it's shaping you to be the best version of yourself, to get that product or to get to that end goal that you are working for. And that process looks different for all of those things you're working for. And so I think there are times when you have to, show yourself some grace. Understand when you're doing something you need to be doing, and you've done what you needed to do. And sometimes you have to let go of certain things, which is also kind of difficult to remind yourself of. But what's your take on it?
Wow. There's so much I can say about that, because you mentioned such great points and factors. But I would say that overall, I think if I'm taking away one thing that you just said, is you have to enjoy all parts of that process. Because if you don't, that's when the patience becomes like a question. And you said that certain things can take longer than others, and some processes could be smoother, and some could really be the polar opposite and be so exhausting and tiring, and just you're constantly questioning why, and I think that if you just take that step back and understand those parts of that process, it will help you get to the overall product. But I'll get into my whole thing as well, but what you said, spot on.
Thanks.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I wouldn't consider myself to be a patient person at all. I preach it to others all the time, and I think I could definitely benefit from practicing it more often myself. But for me, similar to what you were saying, it depends on the situation. If we're talking school, life goals, career, etc., I need to be patient. I am very patient. And I know that through that, the future is very bright. Because if I'm not patient towards those things, I'm going down this very isolating, dark path that I will get into later on, sharing a little personal story. But generally speaking, bigger situations like that, I owe it to myself to be patient. If we're talking smaller things like where are we going out to eat, what are we doing tonight, let's plan a vacation, or just simply driving, road rage, not patient at all. And those small things really get to me and really affect me and really just mess up my whole day. So sometimes I feel I need to go through those small things and see how I'm reacting and be okay, Raquel, chill out, relax, and then maybe I won't go through those again, or maybe I'll just respond better overall.
Yeah.
So, even those small things can really test your patience here and there. But I will say that the process to that end result, once you get there and once you're able to look back on it, of course, is very humbling, and you can see how beneficial it was for you to go through that to end up where you are today. For instance, this is my personal tangent now. At this current stage of life that I'm in, I feel that I should be doing more. I'm the youngest in my family, and it makes me want to move on with my life quicker, not be as dependent, etc. And still being in school is very limiting for me, and I need to remain patient. Otherwise, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going down this very dark, isolating path. A big factor of it is comparing. And I try my best not to do this, but
So glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, we're all human, and comparing your life and experiences to others is something that we can all be guilty of. But I cannot stress how detrimental it could be to your mental health and your overall just mindset and goals. Because, for example, as I mentioned, I'm the youngest in my family. There are people in my family, there are people in my friend group who appear to have their lives set. And I'm saying set in like quotation marks, right? Because I don't know if their life is set, and to me it seems like it is, but maybe to them it doesn't. And
no one has it all figured out.
Yeah, no one has their life.
We forget that.
Right. And I look at that and I'm wondering, like, okay, when am I going to get there, and why am I not there yet? And, things like that, those thoughts that go on in my head strip me of my joy and, like, acceptance of being okay with where I am currently in my life. And that's what I want to stress to everyone, like, listening today, is that you can definitely have those people that you admire, that you look up to, and people who are, like, your mentors, and that support system for you, of course. But once you start comparing and saying, why isn't my life looking like theirs? Or why isn't my relationship looking like theirs? Or why isn't my job like that? That completely takes away from your purpose. Like, you're not meant to have what they have. Your life is not supposed to look like theirs. And you need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So
that comparison.
Yeah, that comparison is a really big thing.
When you are comparing yourself to others and you're comparing your timeline to someone else's, which will never be the same to anyone else's, it leads to that lack of patience in your life, because you want to achieve what this person has and what that person has. And we all do it. We're all human. But it's, something that I think we all could benefit from doing less.
Yes.
I really don't have much else to add to that, because you said it so well. And yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought that up. So as I was thinking about all of this, a quote came back to me. So
quote number 2.
This is quote number 2, which is, instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Instead ask, what can I learn from this? So I found this quote back in late 2018, and it's stuck with me since, because I found it at a time when I really needed it. And I felt like it tied nicely to the other one, because when something is taking time in our lives, or something isn't going as we planned, we're so quick to give up on it. We lose our patience, and we start to question and doubt, and we're saying, why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to me? And changing our mindsets to shift from why is this happening to me to what I can learn from this is key. You have to be able to understand that life is just giving you endless lessons to better your actions, your reactions, and your relationships. So I kind of want to discuss kind of like a personal anecdote, which takes us back to the time where I, found this quote, and why, and it'll kind of get to like why it's stuck with me since then. It was a time where I felt defeated until I changed my outlook on life. And so back in 2018, it was fall of 2018, I was set to start student teaching in the next semester. So January, I would start student teaching. Some things didn't go as planned, which was my biggest fear, because I am a just planner. It is just part of my nature. I plan. And my plan was to graduate in May of 2019, hopefully interview, maybe get hired at the school I was student teaching in. For those of you who don't know, I am a teacher, so I was set to graduate in May of 2019. And hopefully by August of 2019, at the beginning of the school year, I would have a job, right? Because that's the perfect scenario for a teacher, a new teacher. You get hired at the beginning of the school year. So, and then for those of you who don't know, when you are in your last semester as a teacher, you are student teaching. To get your teaching degree.
That's all you're
and
doing.
Your license, yes. So It's essentially like an internship. You have taken all of your other courses. You are done with your full course load. All you are doing is you are student teaching at the school you are placed at, in the classroom you are in, full time. Okay? Mind you, this is unpaid. That's a completely other story, though. We won't get into that. But
pharmacy school's the same.
Anyways, so where was I? Right. Student teaching. The plan was to graduate in May, and that didn't go as planned. And so because I didn't have any courses left to take, what changed was I needed to start student teaching in fall of 2019. So in August of 2019, when ideally I thought I'd be hired at the first school I was going to be teaching at, it turned into, no, you're going to be student teaching then. So then I was like, what am I going to do from January to August that is meaningful? And so I was upset. I was angry. I was upset. Like, why is this happening to me? You know, I had this plan for myself, and it didn't go as planned. It took a lot of tears, a lot of reflecting. And I found this quote during that time, and a combination of a bunch of things with that quote really kind of changed everything for me. I took action, and that action got me a pretty cool job at the time, for that time where I didn't have any classes left to take, and I was waiting to start my student teaching in August. I got a really cool job where I got to support students in their post-secondary plans. So I got to support them in figuring out what their plan was post-high school, whether that was applying to colleges, trade schools, finding jobs, whatever it may be. And I kind of was able to mentor high school students, which is key because being a teacher, yeah, right? Like, I was about to become an English teacher, but one part of being a good educator is understanding everything else your students are going through. Yes, your class is important. My English class is important, but my students are going through so many other things in one single day, before they get to my class and after they get to my class. So getting that job really allowed me to learn that and live that and understand that. And I truly think it made me a better educator. And literally everything after that, from my student teaching to getting my job, everything fell into place the way it was meant to. And it took time, but it was truly brewing to be the perfect cup all along. And I had to be patient to understand that. It's difficult to realize that in the moment when you're living it, but it takes patience to get to where you want to get to. And I'm still working towards the end goal. Is there really an end goal? I don't know, but it was so important to experience that. And shift my mindset from why is this happening to me to, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I do something meaningful and grow? So yeah, a little side note to connect, or story to connect to the quote.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I think that's really nice that you mentioned about realizing that your students also have lives outside of your classroom.
Okay.
And yeah, that's something that I always wonder about teachers. Do you know that your students, not kids, what kids? You call them your kids?
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah. Your students have lives outside of the classroom, because those things factor into everything else.
And what they're doing in my classroom. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Teacher of the year.
What's your take on this?
I ask myself, why is this happening to me all the time? And the only thing that stops me from doing that is turning to my faith. Completely changes my whole attitude, because who am I to question what's written for me? So that's something that I'm constantly turning to and just accepting, okay, if it's written for me to happen this way, then I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to just move on accordingly, and I'm just accepting it. So my faith helps me accept why.
Trust the plan.
Yeah. But I will say that there's always something to learn from each experience, and if you find that same experience happening to you over and over again, take it as a sign that you probably didn't learn enough the first time at the beginning. And until you do, it's probably not going to stop happening to you. So for example, like those small things that I was talking about earlier, like if I'm constantly going to have like road rage, for example, and I'm not doing anything about it, I need to be more mindful. Maybe it just won't happen. If I just remain patient, maybe I won't get so mad about someone cutting me off on the highway or someone driving too slow on like the fast lane, you know? Just a small little thought process. But something even for those small little details, if I change my outlook on it, you know, it could change my overall thought process. My overall,
and that can translate to these bigger life obstacles and these metaphorical staircases we're talking about.
Yeah. So that's what I tell myself, because that's what helps ground me and allows me to accept whatever I'm going through. But it does take a lot to shift your mindset to say, instead of, why is this happening to me all the time? What can I learn from this? Because when you're going through that, all you want is an answer to that why. But you're probably not going to get it. Like if I'm talking to you, right, and I'm saying, I'm venting, and I'm asking you, why is this happening to me? 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, your first response is going to be like, I don't know. But then you're going to give me some pointers on what I can do, maybe something I can learn from it, etc. But like no one's going to have that answer as to the why. But maybe instead you can take those learning experiences and all the things that you had gone through as your answer. Yeah. And that's how you kind of learn from it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I really like that you said that you brought up the whole, if you're experiencing something over and over again, maybe it's because you didn't learn
the first time
around.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, you know, those movies where like someone isn't like achieving something and so like they're reliving the same day over and over again. Yeah. It's not like literally like that, right? It's how do I explain it? I don't know. I don't even want to, I'm going to leave it at what you said because I feel like you said it so well. You said it so nicely that I like that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Anytime. We're reaching the end of our episode, so as we close it, I just want to bring up the quotes again one more time. Our first one was, just because it's taking time doesn't mean it's not happening. And our second was, instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Instead ask, what can I learn from this? So what I'm taking with me after all this is to be more willing to learn and to trust your timeline.
For me, it is that there's a reason why things are not going exactly as you planned, and you should be patient in learning what that reason is.
So thanks for watching, listening, and tuning in. Spread the word. If you think that there is someone in your life who can benefit from listening to this, please share this with them.
I'm Queen.
And I'm Raquel. And this is
QR Quoted.